and welcome to another interview episode of After the Abuse. Today we'll be interviewing James Bright. Let's get right into that, shall we? James is joining us from North Carolina via Skype audio. James, thank you for joining us.
Hey, no problem.
Please tell us a little about your life now.
Right now, I am going back to college. I want to get a master's degree in social work and either do a double major with criminal justice to go along with it to work as a victim advocate.
Can you tell us a little about what you had to endure as a child?
My mom and dad married very young. My dad was a Vietnam vet. Both were sexual abuse victims. My father was sexually abused by his mother, who sexually abused me. My mother was sexually abused by her father. I don't remember being sexually abused by him, but I know he was grooming me. Went through a lot. I'm in counseling now. One of my counselors seems to think that the abuse started before I was 1 from my grandmother. I can remember the abuse starting at between the ages of 3 and 4 and going on to around the age of 8. I can tell you about my first flashback. My grandfather was in the hospital and we were driving to see him, and we were going up the mountain and we were at mile marker 68 on I-40, and my abuser, my grandmother, was sitting next to me in a car. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was and I couldn't explain it. It didn't feel right around her. I don't remember what she said to me, but she put her hand on my knee and it was like the floodgates opened, and I remembered everything from when I was a kid. And it took everything I had to keep from jumping out of the car. So yeah, flashbacks are crazy.
Can you share with us what it was that started you on your healing journey?
I had my first major flashback when I was 19 years old, and I just had to start getting better and putting my life back together. It's taken me nearly 20 years to get where I am now, to where I'm open to talking about it and open to say what's going on. I want to be that example for the next generation to make it easier for them, to clear a path for them.
As abuse survivors, we often have a distorted view of our self-worth. What is it that you do to remind yourself that you have worth?
My wife and my kids help me a lot. I know without my wife and my kids that I wouldn't have a lot. I'd have a lot less self-worth than I have right now. Knowing that they're counting on me, there are a lot of days that's what keeps me going, is I have to be there and be responsible and be there for them.
How do you counter depression at the time when things seem the most bleak?
There are a lot of times I just have to take it, sometimes as much as a minute at a time. I mean, it's not easy. I believe I stay in a depressed state most of the time, and it's like I said, it's not easy to get through it, but there's times you just got to drag that anchor behind you and go. The only way it's going to get better for any of us is to try. We can't not try. We may make a mistake, but we have to at least give it a shot. The good that came out of that is I finally understood what was going on. I understood all of those feelings that I'd felt for years. I understood, but it also was the point of, hey, how do I deal with what I discovered? That's what I've been dealing with for 23 years.
It's common for many abuse survivors to have to cope with substance abuse or addiction in one form or another. Is this something that you've had to deal with?
The only thing I have problem with is food. I'm a good-sized boy, 6'1", and tipping around 350. That I eat a lot of my problems. Never had a problem with any of the drugs or alcohol. My father was a functional alcoholic at best, so that was one of those things when I was young. I just said, no, I don't want to be like that. That's a lot of the way my dad coped with his abuse, was 12 ounces at a time, about 33 degrees, usually 12 to 18 a day, especially on the weekends.
So what would you say to someone who's just starting on their road to healing or their healing journey?
That it's not going to be easy. and you're going to have to take it slow, and you're going to be scared, and there's going to be things that scare you out of your mind, but you got to take that chance. You got to step out and hope that, and know that things will get better. There are certain triggers out there that get me, like wind chimes. I can hear wind chimes, and I'm back to where I was when I was a kid, because outside the window where the bedroom, on the front porch, she had a lot of wind chimes. And when the abuse was happening, that's what I concentrated on. Trains. Because where that house was less than, just very close to the train tracks. I remember trains going by when it was happening, and I would concentrate on that, anything to keep from concentrating on what was going on with me. I can hear that, and it brings back memories, but I've learned how to control them after a while. Wasn't easy. And things do get better. And everybody takes a backward step sometimes. But like I said, you have to at least try.
And what would you say as individuals or as a society we can do to protect children now?
I am a big believer in darkness to light. I went through that training twice. It's a program that came out of Charleston, South Carolina. In the county where I used to live, all of the educators took it. It shows them signs to look for sexual abuse, gives them best practices, like if you have to be alone with someone, like if you're alone with a student, make sure there's a window where folks can look in, make sure the door is unlocked so folks can come in and check on you. Try not to be alone with someone, make sure you have that buddy system, just best practices to make sure that to keep someone from being put in an awkward situation, but also to know that your kids are okay. We need to definitely educate. I have a special needs child that's 13 and function between the ages of 2 and 3. I make sure every time that we give proper names for body parts. Yeah. I think that's huge. A child's going to be a whole lot more believable if you say, they touched my penis, other than they touched my ding-ding or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
It's, that's big. Believing when they come out is huge. Thankfully, when I disclosed, the first thing that I was told broke my heart, which was my dad saying to me that it happened to him too, but he believed me. Believing that it happened, that was one of the best gifts my father ever gave me. Mm-hmm. Although, like I said, it broke my heart to know that he went through the same thing I did, but he believed me, and that was huge.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you so much again for sharing with us, James. We wish you all the best going forward in your healing journey. That's all for this episode. Have a good day and take care of yourself. If you're looking for resources on helping yourself or someone else who has gone through abuse, you can visit rain.org. Or, for resources specifically for men, go to oneinsix.org. If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, please call one of the numbers in your area on the screen.